Good morning, everybody. It's new every morning. It's Monday. It's cold. It's snowy here in Central West Virginia. Now, if you're in Hawaii, it's probably not snowing and it's probably not cold. But here it is. Good morning, everyone. It's January 26, 2026. And I am your host, Tim Koger, on this podcast. Hope you're doing well. I know I am. Let me start bringing down this music a little bit. I hope things are going good for you. I hope you're being able to stay warm and dry. And good morning, Sue. Nice to have you along. It is cold, in case you didn't know. If you haven't been outside, but you can probably look outside and tell that it's cold. I'm looking out my window and it looks cold. I see just a few flakes of snow coming down here at 7:30 a.m. on a Monday morning. There's already snow on the ground. There was snow. We got a little bit of snow overnight here in Central West Virginia. And it's going to be a cold week. It's going to be a winter week. I'd say this snow will be here for a while because it sounds like it's going to be cold here. I don't know if it's going to be cold where you are because I don't know where you are. But good morning, everyone. I got some fun stories today, some interesting stories. I don't know how to call some of them, so we'll get started. Remember, I'm doing this Monday and Friday only for now. This is great information at 7:30 in the morning, but it'll be great at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or on Tuesday or Wednesday because this stuff is just really good stuff. All right. So anyway, my first story is very short and I'm not going to talk much about it, but the new mayor of New York, president of New York, the new mayor of New York announced that taxpayers funded childcare for illegals in New York City. Yep. I don't know if everybody gets childcare free, but illegals do in New York City. So I don't know that I'll say much more about that. You can just do whatever you want to with that. I just wanted to be sure that people knew what was going on in New York City. Now, the next story is about TikTok, and it is becoming somewhat American. They signed an agreement with investors on last week, Thursday, I think, to form an American entity, a real company, so to speak. And they're doing this to erase fears. Good morning, Susan and Tom. Yes, I am staying warm. I hope you are too. They are they're trying to ease fears that a lot of people thought they might get banned in the United States. There was a lot of talk about that. So this new entity is going to handle U.S. data, content, security, those kind of things. But they say they will retain the TikTok secret sauce of what they do that is so successful. So basically, they wanted the Americans to continue to hold the global experience with TikTok without the security risks. So we'll see how that works as time goes by. It's promising. The first trilateral peace talks between Ukraine, Russia, and the U.S. were constructive, they said. But of course, the fighting just continues. And there is a second round. Actually, a second round resumed yesterday. And so the U.S. called that a good sign. I don't know if I have a lot of faith in both of those parties being willing to have success. We'll see. Time will tell. Silver is the next story. Yes, silver. It passed $100 in value per ounce for the first time ever in the United States. And of course, gold is going crazy too. It's almost at $5,000. So who knows? They're not making a whole lot more of that stuff, but it continues to become a popular way to invest. We'll see if those numbers hold. Good morning. Good morning from Alabama. I'm guessing that it's not as cold there as it is here, but I heard you probably got some winter weather in Alabama. Anyway, so we'll see. Murder is down in the U.S. Released Thursday, found that it was down 21% across 35 American cities. This is the American cities. This is the largest one-year dip on record. It went down 21% in 1 year. Now the study says, I love this. It's 25. I can believe that. It's I don't know what it is here. I'm going to guess it's somewhere between 10 and 15, and snowing a little bit. Now what? I don't know. The study about homicide, the murder rate in the United States. It took robust research is needed to determine why it went down, why the murder rate went down. I think I know why it went down. 55 would be nice. I think. Hey, good morning, Mary. I am staying warm. I got a fire going behind me. They have to do more research to understand why the dip in murder rate in the United States went down. I don't need to do any research. I kind of know, and I bet you do too. So basically, they're saying a study is needed to study the study. That's the way I see it. A study is needed to study the study. So who knows? Anyway, the good news is the murder rate is down. America's healthiest states. They ranked America's healthiest states. Now, as always, these things need a little bit closer look. I'm always skeptical when I see these, healthiest states, a lot of these things. Okay, so they analyzed 99 measurements, okay? And they listed physical inactivity, smoking rates, and air quality, all right? Now, some of the things, if you read down through the story, there's a few other things that they added in these 99 measurements to find the healthiest states, okay? Like food insecurity, whatever that is. I don't know. Food insecurity? Really? Economic hardship. That has something to do with the healthiness. Homicide rates. I guess technically that could be something to do with the healthy people that are getting killed. I don't know. High school completion. How many people complete high school has something to do with healthy rates. And income inequality, which would basically be there's people that make a lot of money and there's people that don't make a lot of money. Now, I'm not sure what those things have to do with healthy states, but I am pretty sure that this study was done by people in New England, because it seems like New England states are the ones that are the healthiest, and southern states are the ones that are not the healthiest. So, like I said, I don't know about this stuff, I'll tell you. I don't know what those things have to do with health, but anyway. Moving along, so basically I'm debunking that study, in case you can figure that out. How to stop annoying spam calls. Huh? Who doesn't want to know this? If you have a cell phone, you're getting spam calls. And so how do you stop those things? Well, I'm not going to give you all the information, but I am going to list the story I got this information from, because each phone is a little different on how to do that. But they give you directions on how to go in there. But whether it's an iPhone, Android, everybody wastes time with these people. Now, if you're on an iPhone, iOS 26 has a call screening robot voice between you and unknown callers, and you can ask, why they're ringing, and it'll come up on the screen. A transcript will come up on the screen, and you can decide whether you want to pick it up or not. Now, like I said, based on the phone type, you'll see a lot of things. So these are some of the wordage you'll see on different phones. Screen unknown callers, caller and spam ID toggle switch, a spam detection and scam detection, and spam or call screening, and caller ID spam protection. Now, I will post the story on my Facebook page that will help you step by step on the type of phone you have to try some of this stuff out. But they're trying their best to stop the nasty calls you get. I mean, they don't have to be nasty, just bothersome calls. Okay, so they're working on that. I love this story. and I hope there's educators out there in West Virginia that are listening, and in all states. How did Mississippi go from being the bottom to the top in student reading achievement scores? Now, over the last few years, Mississippi has risen from 49th in the country for fourth grade reading level to number one, from 49 to 1 in a few years in both reading and math. This is fourth grade level after adjusting for poverty and socioeconomic factors, whatever that means. Who knows? Proving that the method can trump money. In other words, money doesn't solve the problem. That southern state has achieved all despite being one of the very poorest in the country and some of the lowest per student education budgets. So basically, throwing money at this problem is not what Mississippi did, okay? So what did they do? Which it's rooted in a couple things, okay? Holding individual schools accountable for student performance. What an idea! Holding schools accountable for the performance of their kids. So they started changing how this stuff is taught. So the ones that picked up on how Mississippi was doing it obviously did better. But holding schools up, performance, and if a lot of that stuff is going away. It's not the school's fault. Well, if they're not using the systems that are working, it might be the school's fault. That may not be, but let's try using some more affluent states, in particular some in the northeast of the United States, have moved away from giving schools an A through F grades. But just like schools might give students based on grades A through F, as far as I know, most schools are still giving grades to students, right? I hope so. Anyway, now the large study, and what's really popular is literacy instruction throughout the country is something called balanced literacy. And it involves allowing the child the freedom to gravitate toward the reading books they are interested in. Mississippi's doing something different. They're doing something called the science of reading. And this method involves pairing reading time with precise and targeted instruction regarding the sounds that letter combinations make in the English language. What an idea. I think they used to call that, science of reading states that without these precise instructions, children may struggle to grasp certain phonics, in which in turn shows that reading speed and frustrates them overall try to get through a book. So if they don't understand the phonics, if they don't grasp that at fourth grade, at that level, then they get frustrated trying to read and they don't finish books, i.e. they don't read. Now, Mississippi authorities have made science reading based instruction a non-negotiable aspect of their curriculum, okay? So they are requiring Mississippi schools to use this system. Now, appointing literacy and math coaches has also helped, and they've done some of that. And they still have challenges, but they're doing pretty good, I'd say. So, basically, these changes have revolutionized Mississippi's childhood education, and they've done it without more money. So basically, they've gone back to a system that works. They went from 49th in reading at fourth grade level to 1 in just a few years. I think it's working. What do you think? Anyway, I'm sorry. I was shouting a little bit. I just think that's great news. So, and of course, one of the benefits for what Mississippi has done is, we live in a federalized country, okay? And it means each state is free to try ideas which, may bring success or failure or indifference. We don't really know what they'll bring, but they are willing. They have to be willing. Other states have to be willing to try to decide if their own policies are working or not working. And obviously, Mississippi's is working, and they've proved that through through their going to number one. They're number one. from 49 to number 1 in reading. Wow. Anyway, that really amazed me, and I think that my hope is that other states will say, "What exactly are you guys doing down there in Mississippi?" and start picking that up, because it doesn't take more money. You know, people are yelling, "We need more money. We need more money," a lot, and I understand, but they didn't do it with more money. They did it with better systems. Try that. So I'm pretty much finished, but I do want to say something about Sir Isaac Newton. Okay, now I don't know if you know. I mean, he's the guy that did all these, laws of motion, and I quote one of his laws of motions all the time, and it is because it applies to life, and it is, for every action there is a equal but opposite reaction. And I believe that's true all over society, all over, life, that, a lot of times when there is a action, there is a reaction, almost always. So, but I don't know if it's my favorite. One of my favorite quotes from Sir Isaac Newton is this, and I quote, "All my discoveries have been made in answer to prayer." So he was praying for the answers that he came up with. So if you want some answers, hey, maybe that's the way to do it. Try praying. Try praying for answers. What a concept, right? Anyway, you guys have a wonderful week. Stay warm. Stay safe. I will be back Friday morning at 7:30 a.m. for more interesting stories. And I will definitely post in my Facebook page the story about those calls that we keep getting that we don't want. All right, you guys take care. Be blessed. I'll see you Friday. Bye-bye.